Okay, it's 9:01, so let's get started. Most people look like they've wandered in. So as I said, welcome to Bellevue, Washington for NANOG 40. No, not Toronto, but I'm still me. First, and throughout the meeting, we need to give a big round of thanks to our host, XKL. As I'm sure you've heard me say over and over again by now, without a host, none of this could have happened. We wouldn't have a place to meet. We wouldn't have network connectivity. You wouldn't have any power at your seats. We wouldn't have a meeting, basically. So big thanks to XKL. And if you see folks, in fact, if anybody from XKL is here, could you stand up and wave at us? Or probably, oh, there's one back there, a couple. Okay, good. A bunch of other contributors in varying roles. I'm not going to read them all because it would take all day, but people providing connectivity, routers, just general grunt work, all sorts of things. Without these people, we wouldn't have much of a meeting either. So thank you to all of you. We have 4 break sponsors this time. So the food that you had out there, this wonderful breakfast, without the break sponsors, we wouldn't be seeing much in the way of food out there. So thank you to those guys. And please support the break sponsors. During the breaks, they'll sometimes be out there with little booths or tables, so you can go talk to them. And of course, the big thing is the beer and gear. Tonight, 5:30 to 7:30, it's going to be right outside in the foyer there. Counting this, looks like we have 9 exhibitors tonight, so make sure you support them while you're drinking our fine beer and wine and eating our good food. I'd like to give big thanks to the program committee, 16 people plus myself. Did a lot of hard work over the last few months putting this program together. We hope that you'll enjoy it. And if you like it or if you don't like it, please talk to one of us or all of us or whatever and let us know what you think and how we could make things better. Couple receptions. I already mentioned the beer and gear right out there. There's also going to be a couple late evening receptions hosted by Microsoft at Parlor Billiards, which I guess is across the way there. There's a little flyer out in the registration area. You can find out about it. That's carefully scheduled, so after all the main events are over, after the beer and gear and after the community meeting tomorrow, you can go and eat and party some more, I suppose. No agenda changes so far, so what's on your printed schedule is still correct. Remote participation, I have no idea if this is still true, but it probably is. A couple reminders. Network security is the big one, of course. This is a public wireless network, which means everybody can see what you're sending. So please try not to use clear text passwords unless you want people to hack into your accounts. Do use end-to-end encryption, SSH, VPN tunnels, whatever. PGP key signing BOF is, as usual, going to be during the breaks, this time during the morning breaks in one of the rooms over to the side there. Beer and gear reception I already mentioned. Another thing that I haven't mentioned yet is we have a couple of open seating rooms down the hallway that way. And if you go even beyond those, there's a little patio area that's been set up for us to use with some tables, so you can sit out there and enjoy the sunshine when you're not in here, of course, in the meeting. If you wonder why some of us have funny colored badges, this is why. Blue badges for steering committee members, yellow badges for program committee members, red badges for the mailing list committee members, of which unfortunately we only have one here today, this time, but you'll be hearing from him at the committee meeting tomorrow night. Then there's me. Mine is green, which means that I'm blue plus yellow together. There's also dots on people's badges, green for people who want to organize peering, black for people who are interested in network security, and red for people who like to sign PGP keys during this BOFs I just told you about. Lightning talks. This is a big hit since we started it about a year ago. We're going to do 6 10-minute sessions again this time, 3 of them tomorrow, 3 of them on Wednesday. The only real criterion is that it has to be on topic for NANOG. In other words, it has to be technical. Sign-ups are open. URLs here. There's a link also from the main NANOG page. It says that the deadline is 3 p.m. Tuesday, but if you want to be in tomorrow's session, the deadline is 3 p.m. today. If you're not selected for today, you'll go back in the pool again. I mean, if you're not selected for tomorrow, you'll go back in the pool again for Wednesday. So earlier is better. Once the deadline's passed, the PC will choose our favorite 3 for tomorrow, and then again our favorite 3 for Wednesday. And lucky winners will get to present. 10 minutes means 10 minutes. At the end of 10 minutes, we yank you off the stage physically if necessary. Informal buffs, I actually forgot to check about this. We've done this in the past where we have rooms available for people to sit down and talk about stuff. If you want to reserve a room for that, contact one of us and we'll figure out something. There is an Aaron booth out in the registration area. Again, this is old information, so I don't know if the times are exactly right. But if you want to talk to Aaron about registration issues or membership issues, go visit them. Or even if you don't, just go and say hi. Not only are they here to help you, but they're here supporting our meeting with a lot of funding to make the AV stuff and the webcast stuff happen. And that's it for me, so now I'm going to turn the mic over to Mike O'Brien from XKL.
Okay, hi, I'm Mike O'Brien. I'm working for XKL, your host here today, and welcome to Bellevue. Bellevue, if you're not from around here, is a rapidly growing suburb of Seattle. Right across the lake to the west is the big city. Bellevue's about 31 square miles, just under 120,000 population-wise. And if you notice when you come in, it's growing like crazy. I mean, if when you drove in from the airport or drove in this morning, if you didn't see a crane, you weren't looking up. At one point, I think the figure was almost half of the cranes west of the Mississippi, the big tower cranes, were in Bellevue, which is pretty wild for a city this size. And down here, this URL, it's also linked to on the NANOG page, I think, as the community forum. It's got great information on the surrounding area, and if you find something good, you know, feel free to throw it on there. It'll really help people out. This is a late night paint exercise, if you can see it on the screen. This O here is me, big blob, you. If you look out this side of the ballroom, if you go out these doors and then go that way, there's a great door straight into Lincoln Square, which then has a bridge to Bellevue Square. And those are two of the main places to go get food, do anything around here. So it's a good way to get right into the heart of the city. Who are we? XKL, we're a network equipment vendor located down the street in Redmond, right near a fairly large software company you may have heard of, which takes up most of Redmond. We're owned by Cisco Systems co-founder Len Bozak, and Len's goals with all of our stuff is to create reliable, easy to use and deploy, and economical systems. We're basically trying to bring gobs of bandwidth for cheap. The DXM product is actually providing optical transport in the NANOG 40 network. We have a room over there where you can see that. Here's a picture of the network. It's actually two different physical locations. Upper left is the Seattle area, and lower right is the Bellevue Hotel here. And they're connected by some Quest Dark Fiber. So starting with the upper left, we have 10 gig E handoffs, one from NTT and one from MZEMA, and they're multiplexed via DWDM on our DXMH machines. Those are then carried over the Paradark Fiber from Quest between Seattle and here, this hotel, where they're demultiplexed and shot into a Procket 8801. And I'm going to do some thanks later, but I'd like to thank Dino Farinacci right now for helping us get comfortable with using that Procket 8801 in the network. So thanks, Dino. After the Procket, it goes into two different networks, the standard NANOG wireless and video network, and then also a gigabit wired network. At each of these four front tables here, we have switches right under the skirt in the middle of the section, and they're all gigabit copper switches, so you can get a pretty sweet connection if you sit up there or run a really long cable. Okay, many thanks. Lots of people to thank. I will try to go through them quickly, and if I forget somebody, yell at me or hold a grudge, but I prefer you yell. Aaron Quinn from Quest really made the dark fiber happen, and Randy Bush and the SC started the contact and introduction, so thanks to all of them. Andrew Rozelle from MZEMA for providing the first 10 gig of transit, and Brian Faust and his team from NTT America for the same thing, 10 gig of transit. There's a company called Optic Fusion here in the local area. It's a data center provider, and they let us use their space in the West End for putting our optical gear, and also did some great last mile fiber work in both areas. So thank you, Eric Stockwell from Optic Fusion. The XKL networking setup team, last for this slide but not least, they were here until late last night doing some power and network setup. So thanks to them, Bryce, Shane, Nathan, Scott, Eric, and Kelly, among others. Even more thanks, Tony Capella. When we got this crazy idea to do this super high-speed NANOG network, he was a great sounding board. So Tony, thanks for that. Worked through us from the beginning to the, well, right now. And also Rodney Jaffe, the NANOG hosting king, who has hosted NANOG more than anyone ever will. Yeah, he was great. When we first decided to look into doing this, he graciously gave us a bit of his time to work through what he's been through, gave us some tips, and honestly, we might not be here today if he didn't help us out. So Rodney, thank you very, very, very much. And I think everyone might say this, but it's true. Merit makes hosting easy. They're really, really good at this. Everyone gets a little nervous. I got a little nervous before it, but they show up and they lay everything down, and they've done this so many times, 39 before this to be exact. So Merit, thank you very much. I would encourage each and every one of you to look into hosting because you know it's great for the community. You get your name up there, and it's really fun, and Merit makes it easy. So. The Merit people on site, Larry, Betty, David, Sal, Don, Rick, Jason, and Carol, and everyone back in Ann Arbor, thank you all very much. And some final notes. As of 6:13 a.m. today, we had 402 attendees. All beer and gear and break sponsorships have been sold out. And just a note, XKL employees were pretty much all from around here, so if you have any questions about the area, feel free to ask any of us. Have any questions about anything, feel free to ask any of us, and we'll try to help you out. So enjoy NANOG 40, and here's Steve.